Let's get a little bit into the Tone Trump story, man. We talk a little bit off camera, man, but we want to get the people a little bit.
We should already been filming.
Right. That's why I'm mad when you film all that. But I mean, a lot of people they see some of the moves you make, and people might be curious, like, how do he do it? Where did he come from? How is he able to connect with this person and that person? So they really baffled about how you go about making the moves you make. So tell them a little bit how you first got started up until the point you've been making these big moves.
The first thing I always tell people is, like, you gotta have faith. Like, the first thing is, I was like praying for the fun. Like, I never was a person that like could work like jobs. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't a good drug dealer. You know what I mean? I wasn't good with fast money because I want to spend money too fast. And, you know what I mean? In order to be a really, really good drug dealer, you gotta be heartless. And I wasn't heartless. You know what I mean? I was the guy who didn't want to serve a pregnant lady and shit like that. You know what I mean? So it's like I ain't built for that. You know, when I was young, I wasn't good at selling weed because I wanted to smoke. I grab a QP and bag up 500 and I smoked $400 worth of weed. So it was like that wasn't meant for me to do. I wasn't meant to be no drug dealer. My jump shot wasn't as good as I thought it was, so the NBA wasn't going to happen for me. So I started trying to figure out what I could do, and I never forget, like, I used to always be into like magazines. So when I got one of the Source magazines and I saw the article on Freeway and seeing, you know, beans in the Source and stuff, and just seeing, you know, people from the city that I come from, I think when you see people make it from your town, it's extra inspiring. It makes it more believable. Like right now, like if you look at Philly, like a kid that's coming up doing comedy in Philly can look at Kevin Hart and say, well shit, I could do that too. So when I'm seeing the property move around, how they was moving around, even back then, Major Figures, how they was moving around, Cassidy, all them guys who was like just getting deals and, you know, looking like they was rich, and coming back to the city iced up and getting cars and, you know, coming into the club getting looked at like superstars. I'll never forget that, and I wanted to be a part of that. So I started setting my dream out to be a rapper, and when I really looked at when I wanted to do it, I knew I was focused on doing it in a way where I always looked like I already made it. Like when it was time to do my MySpace page, I went to other people's MySpaces and I would look at like Lil Wayne's MySpace and see who did it, you know, would say profile done by, and if it had that person's info, I would hit that person and ask them how much they charged. And you know, back then people would just get the free layouts, not me. I would send my little 150 to get my joint that looked like I was already on. And you know, when you look like something, you know, they say if you run it like a business, people will treat it like a business, and that's what I was doing. I had a complete look, even when my music wasn't good, I couldn't rap good yet. I looked the part, I sounded the part. You know, I was getting a lot of press early on because I knew how to talk, and I would call up newspapers and stuff like that and act like I was my manager or my publicist. You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't never give up. I didn't never let up. I used to go up to Power 99 and just go up there and like act like I had meetings with Cosmic Kev, and a couple of the times I actually got in front of Kev, like way before I was on any DVDs. I went there to try to get on Hometown Hero. It was like a little segment when Kev would play like a song from somebody from Philly who wasn't on the radio. And, you know what I mean? I was going up there to see Kev, and I had like a binder with like all my little newspaper articles, like trying to show him I'm somebody and shit like that. And you know, Kev would hear the music and he critique it, and at that time he was right. Like, you know, the shit I was playing was garbage, but then I finally came up with a song that was okay, and he played that during on Hometown Jams, and this was before I was even buzzing. So I was always grateful for that. But when my buzz caught a fire, you know what I mean, I attacked the internet. I'm skipping parts as I go along, but as I attacked the internet and started to get millions and millions of views, you know what I'm saying, I was synonymous with World Star, which was the biggest site out. And that's when I was, you know, I was having videos on, you know, I went from DVDs to being on MTV consistently and stuff like that. Even when MTV did Philly Day in Philly, I remember everybody was mad because I hosted that shit. You know, everybody was like, why so-and-so ain't on here, and why they ain't go get this one, and they got Tone Trump out, you know what I mean? Like, but I was on it, you know, not only was I on it, but the producers from MTV, when they first decided to do Philly Day, Esteban Serrano, who's one of the producers, told me that the first thing the people from MTV said is, we want to get the new people. Can you get people like Tone Trump? I was the first name that the higher ups at MTV brought up when it was time to do Philly Day. So mashallah, so you know, that was showing you know, my national buzz. Even, you know, at a time where Cosmic Kev is not playing my music, Funk Master Flex, the biggest DJ in the world, goes on Twitter and says, somebody tell Tone Trump I'm looking for him. So now everybody blowing up my Twitter, yo, Flex looking for you. You know, K-Slate.
So was that your first time ever hearing, like you ever talked to Flex or meeting before that?
Nah, well, you know, I gotta give shout out to Sub-Zero, DJ Deep Freeze. I was killing all the Sub-Zero DVDs. They was blackballing me like Ant from We Run the Streets wasn't putting me on his DVDs because I had the issue with Mike Knox. You was kind of chilling. You put me on like part 3 or something like that, so you always held me down, but I was blackballed. Young Bob wasn't doing DVDs no more, and I wasn't able to get on We Run the Streets because, you know, Knox was putting pressure on niggas. Like, you know what I mean? Shout to Ant. Even if Ant wanted me on there, Knox probably wasn't having it at the time. Free Mike Knox. You know what I mean? So that whole circle was, you know, anti-Tone Trump. So if you was rocking with them, you obviously wasn't rocking with me. So that forced my hand. I started attacking the New York DVDs, which was bigger anyway, because the Philly DVDs pretty much was only seen in Philly, where the New York DVDs would have national distribution. So now when I'm on a cover of Sub-Zero DVD and I'm on there with French Montana and all them as they bubbling, my buzz spreading all over. Now K-Slate reaching out, and K-Slate playing my music. Now Flex is hearing Slate play my music, and he's seeing this. You know, I always say first Slate gave me shine, and then Flex dropped bombs. And next thing I know, you know, the first I hear of Flex is him looking for me on Twitter. He reached out, I reached back. He winds up asking me to perform at the launch party for his site, for In Flex We Trust. I was one of the headliners. I brought Freeway out on my set. I performed that night on the same bill as Tech 9, the independent legend, Joe Buttons, Fred the Godson, Busta Rhymes. I was the only person from Philly on the bill. And Flex booked everybody personally, you know what I'm saying? So, mashallah, and I killed it. Had the best performance of the night, brought Free out at a time where people ain't seen Free in a while. He come out, do what we do. I actually had PD come off that night for me too, but PD had some type of issue at the door with security. So I never, you know, I'm forever grateful. You know, that was big for me to get, you know, I had PD Crack and Freeway come out for me at a show in New York. And then I wound up fast forward to another show I headlined in New York at the famous SOBs. I brought Freeway and Cassidy out and had them on the stage together for the first time ever. You know, they classic battle when them niggas never really was cool. They never was really enemies, but they never was cool, obviously, after the battle. But that night, they shook hands, they showed love. It was all love, it was hip-hop. I brought Melly Mel and Kool Herc, the godfather of hip-hop, out that night. It was legendary, and like I said, Cassidy and Free. So,
Right. Let me stop right there. I'm gonna bring you up to speed, man.
Right.
Cause I know you trying to go through to get to it. Yeah, right. But I want to keep keep them up to speed. So you start rapping, know what I mean?
Right.
And you was able to get on a couple platforms in Philly, a couple of the up-and-coming DVDs.
Right.
Then at some point you had a situation, a disagreement with Mike Knox and a few other people. That
everybody.
Wait.
Everybody.
So that kind of boxed you out of their circle,
right.
And it kind of put you on an island by yourself.
Right.
So now you can't really penetrate the Philly scene like that. So now you made the conscious decision. So how did that come?
Because you didn't have no I didn't have no homie in New York who was popping. I had heart. You know what I mean?
So talk about that. So how did you go from?
You know what I started doing? I basically I started going to New York and I started working with like underground artists, like artists who was, you know, bubbling, not super famous, but bubbling. I'm rocking with, you know, Piff Unit from the east side of Harlem. I'm rocking with Mike Beck from Brooklyn, you know, God bless the dead. You know, Lil C's hit me up to do a record from Junior Mafia, and I go out there, I do a verse for C's, and I do the video with C's, and I remember Raekwon seeing the video on Raekwon asking C's who I was, you know, and Raekwon from Wu-Tang, you know, Ray was looking to sign me at one point early in my career to his label, and you know, just getting love. And then, you know, like you said, I was boxed out of that whole little situation, because at that time they had shit on Smash. They had the radio on lock, they had the D, they just had the whole Philly, whatever you want to call it, on Smash, and rightfully so. They had veterans, like, you know, they had, you know, Gilly, it was I don't know if he is now, but back then Gilly was like hand in hand with the radio. You know, that was like the plug for a lot of them dudes. I remember Gilly even saying it at the radio, at the Philly Hip Hop Awards one year. He said, you know, he had a bunch of the Philly rappers on stage with him, and he was just like, yo, all these niggas on the radio because of me type shit. Like, he would put Kev one of them niggas. So like, I didn't never have that. So when Kev finally called me to do the Come Up show, it always felt good to me, because I knew I didn't pay. I knew I didn't have, you know, the relationship with Gil, where Gil was like, yo, this the nigga Tone Trump.
Well, I want to pause because I want to get to that, so I don't want to jump to that just yet. So I want to stay on the Funk Flex and the DJ K-Slate situation. So being though you went out in New York and you was grinding, you was connecting with different artists in the city, trying to connect and get your buzz up with them. Well, y'all connect and do business together. How did it feel getting embraced by those legendary DJs in New York when you wasn't even getting embraced by the DJs in Philly?
I mean, it was like confirmation for me. Like, it felt good because at the point when it became a point where I knew I had records that was better than mostly everybody, if not everybody. Like, I knew, like, you know, I had a record at one point, you know, like, I was sending, you know, the DJs in Philly records, you know, like, let's not play around. I was sending Cosmic Kev. Like, you know, I'm not talking about No Frills and Ace McCloud and all of them niggas. Them niggas in the streets should get way more credit because they support, you know what I'm saying? So shout to, you know what I mean? Like, DJ Difference never showed me love, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can't, you know, but I never really had a relationship with him. But, you know, I dealt with like Feast and Leak and them niggas from the stands on 52nd Street, and I built a lot of relationships with mixtape DJs. So I want to salute them, you know what I mean? And they showed me love on my come up. But for me, it was just confirmation because when I knew I had records that was good enough, like, it was like, I felt like it made them look crazy. Like, for somebody like Cosmic Kev, like, I'm right here where you at, you know what I mean? Even at the time, I was like living damn near right by Part 99. It was on Ceylon Avenue, and I'm living on Ceylon Avenue. Like, I could walk to the station, and I'm like, I'm getting played, not just in New York, I was getting my music played in radio state, FM radio all over. You know what I'm saying? From the DMV to the West Coast to the Midwest. So everywhere I would go, I would be on FM radio, doing interviews, primetime radio. But I wasn't getting no love here. They just let me know it was personal. Like, it wasn't about my music. It wasn't about, oh, I'm not good enough. It was like, niggas ain't fucking with me. You know what I mean? Kev ain't fucking with me for whatever reason. I don't know if it's my, you know, I figured it out. You know what I mean? I knew it definitely had a lot to do with, you know, my issues with rappers in Philly and stuff like that. And if he's down with them, like, I can't even really be mad. I could be mad, but I gotta understand it too. Like, I just started chalking it, like, fuck it, I'm gonna have to find another way. And that forced my hand to move around in the network, and that's been priceless for me, so it was a good thing.
Word. So yeah, so now bring us up to speed with some of the milestones that you hit and the course of all your hustling outside of Philly and stuff like that. And then at some point, Kev did reach out to you to come on Power 99.
Right.
So how did that come about, and talk about how that felt?
Well, at this point, by time.
Well, let me first say too, how long was it from your situation with Knox and how you felt boxed out until he called you? Like, what amount of time?
It felt like forever. I never forget. Even if when you look at the footage, I'm on there on Part 99 in front of Kev saying, I waited 15 years. I was exaggerating with the 15 years, but it felt like 15 years because I'm like, man, I should have been up here. Like, I was hearing people on the Come Up show, and I'm like, who is that? You know how it's been many nights where niggas is like, yo, I got so-and-so from Chester in here, or it'd be even worse, it'd be a nigga from like around the corner from you never heard of. Like, y'all from EA, so y'all are hearing a nigga from like Dolphin Street that y'all never heard of, and y'all know every rapper. So it's like, this shit gotta be personal, man. It'd be funny sometimes. I would hear rappers on there that paid me for verses. So I'm like, how is he on there and I'm not on there? This is a nigga who paid me to do a song with him. I'm clearly on a higher level than him. I'm clearly, you know what I'm saying? So I knew it was just personal, but when he finally called me, it was like vindication, man, because I knew, like, I said, yo, man, like, because I never forget, like, it was widespread that, you know, that this is the way you get on Cosmic Kev's show. You either gotta do this or do this, and I didn't want to do either one of those things. And, you know, and let the record show, Cosmic Kev never personally said nothing to me about no payola, so I'm not accusing him of that, but, you know, it definitely was brought to my attention, you know what I'm saying, yo, if you do this, Main Man gonna rock out. Not from him personally though, so I'm not doing no snitching on him because that's illegal, so I don't want to get, you know, not to say it would get Kev in trouble, but I don't, you know, and I do look at Kev like he a legend, but, you know, not being on his good side can cause you problems. 'Cause I'm gonna be honest, I've had people from record labels who I developed friendships with who told me, like, you know, when we called about you, Kev didn't say good things, you know what I'm saying, or, you know, he would try to put them on to somebody else. You know what I mean? And that's tough because it's like, damn, man, who knows how much money you might have cost me. And not just me, but others. You know what I mean? When they say, yo, what's up with this one? And he, you know, nah, but yeah, he all right, but this was really what it really is. And then he's pushing something that he has an agenda with. You know what I mean? Like, he's in bed, no homo, like, he's in business with this guy. So it's like, when they calling about me, nah, fuck him. This right here is it, though. And that person he's showing never even heard of this person. They like, who? It might be somebody that's popping here, but they don't got that global buzz. So it's just something like that.
Word. So now, moving past that milestone, I don't know if it was before that or after that, but you ended up getting your song Afghan buzzing on the streets.
Right.
Getting picked up on the radio stations on your own individual song.
Right.
So that was like one of your first singles, your first bangers
That was
that
the
you
first
put
one on
together.
radio,
So,
really, yeah.
Right, and then after you getting it popping on your own, you end up getting Jeezy on it.
Right.
So talk about that. How you go from that transition to that phase.
I got the record popping on my own, and I never forget. Jeezy had a show in Philly.